The array blocking queue is a thread-safe queue that supports operations that might block. Those so-called blocking operations refer to methods that can potentially pause the execution of a thread until a specific condition is met. This is in contrast to non-blocking operations, which return immediately, even if the requested operation cannot be completed. We will showcase this in just an instance in a code example to get things clearer. But let's first stick to some of the basics. The array blocking queue is designed for so-called producer-consumer problems, where one or more threads produce elements and also one or more threads consume them. Now, what could an element be? Well, pretty much any Java class you can think of. Anything that can be an object. Any calculation of a custom class you've prepared. So, what does thread-safe mean? Well, thread-safe means that a data structure, like a blocking queue, is designed to handle concurrent access from multiple threads without causing errors or inconsistencies. In the case of the array blocking queue, this means that multiple threads can access and modify the same queue simultaneously. This is essential for concurrent programming, where multiple threads might need to read from or write to the same data structure. Also, data corruption is prevented. The queue's internal mechanisms ensure that, even if multiple threads are accessing it at the same time, the data within the queue remains consistent and accurate. The array blocking queue offers both blocking operations and non-blocking operations. Regarding blocking operations, these are methods like put and take that can block if the queue is full or empty, respectively, preventing potential race conditions. And regarding non-blocking operations, there are methods like offer and poll that return false or null instead of blocking, making them suitable for scenarios where immediate results are desired. Alright, let's take a look at some code to get more clarity into this matter. Don't worry, I've uploaded the entire example code of this video onto GitHub. You can find the link to the GitHub repository in the video description below. Alright, what we have here is a little Maven project, including scripts for building the application and scripts for running the application. Now, depending on your operating system, you will use the cmd or the bash files. For Windows, you use build.cmd and run.cmd, and for Mac and Linux, you use build and run. Alright, let's start by creating a new interface for the producer-consumer queue. What we want to do here is enable the execution of a produce method and a consume method, both returning void. Alright, that's enough. Now let's build a producer-consumer blocking class, which implements the producer-consumer queue interface that we just created. Let's start by defining a queue capacity of, let's say, 10, meaning that the maximum size of the queue can be 10. Alright, now let's define the queue, in which we use blocking queue of type integer, and in a queue variable we put a new instance of array blocking queue, and as a parameter we pass on the capacity variable. Now let's implement the produce method that we defined in the producer-consumer queue. Now some operations on the queue might result in having errors, like for instance the interrupted exception. So to handle those, we build up a try-catch context. Within the try part, let's define the while loop that is always true, which means once it starts, it never stops. Every iteration we produce a new number that we can place in the blocking queue. For this, we build a new int variable, produced item, in which we place a number that we generate in the produce item method. So let's implement this method privately. Let's make use of the math random method, multiplied by 100, and convert it to int. Once created, we return it to the caller, which would be here, so that we can put it into the produced item variable. Now let's take that number and use put to put it into the queue. After having done so, we print a line to the terminal, produced item, and then the produced item number. In case of an error, we also print some text to the terminal, producer was interrupted. Now let's implement the consume method that we defined in the producer-consumer queue. Here also, let's start by creating a try-catch context and also a while loop that is always true. And in here, the first thing that we want to do is use the take method of the queue to get the next number and put it in our new variable consumed item of type int. Once we've done that, we can print it to the terminal, consumed item, and then the consumed item number. So this would represent one cycle. First, we put a number into the queue, and then we get it out again. Alright, and in the case of some error, we print the line, consumer was interrupted. That's all we need for the producer-consumer blocking class. Now let's create another class for the non-blocking variant, and let's call it producer-consumer non-blocking. This class also implements the producer-consumer queue, so that we can guarantee that there is a produce and a consume method. Let's first start by defining the queue capacity. Let's set it to 10, and then let's also create a new queue, blocking queue of type integer, in which we put a new instance of ArrayBlockingQueue, taking the capacity as a parameter, and then let's implement the produce method. Here we start again by defining the try-catch context, and also a while loop, being always true. Now we produce an item. For that we need the method produceItem, in which we return a generated number using the mathRandom method. And now we use an if-else context. And now we make use of the offer method of the queue. So what this essentially means is that we offer our number to the queue if possible. If we had success doing so, we print the line produced item and then the produced item. But if we fail to do so, we print the line produced item offer failed, queue full, waiting 1000 milliseconds. And then we wait 1000 milliseconds. In the case of a general error, we print the line producer was interrupted. Now let's also implement the consume method, in which we also start with a try-catch context and the while loop being always true. And now we use the queue's poll method to get an integer value, which could be null. And because of that, we use the wrapper integer class and not int directly, because int directly cannot be null. Alright, now we can check if consumed item is null or not. If it is not null, it means we had success. So we can print consumed item and then the consumed item. And in the case that it is null, we print consumed item poll failed, queue empty, waiting 1000 milliseconds. And then we wait 1000 milliseconds. In the case of an error, we catch it by printing the line consumer was interrupted. Alright, now let's put it all together in the main method. So let's start by creating a scanner pointed to system.in. What this enables us is to ask the user for a certain input. So we can ask 1 for blocking queue and 2 for non-blocking queue. Then we can tell him to enter a number. And then whatever his number was will be converted to an integer and put into the choice variable. Then we close the scanner context, followed by defining a producer consumer queue variable called queue, in which we place null. And then we create a switch case for the choice variable. One possibility is 1, in which we create a new instance of producer consumer blocking and put it into the queue variable. And then we use break to leave the switch context. Another possibility is 2, in which we create a new instance of producer consumer non-blocking queue and put that instance in the queue variable. And again, for leaving the switch context, we use break. In the case that the user entered anything else than 1 and 2, we catch it by using the default context, and we print the text to the terminal, number not implemented, and we use break to leave the switch context. Now, if the queue is not null, we continue within the if context. So let's first create a thread that we call producer thread, and that we point to the produce method in the queue. And let's also create a second thread, which we point to the consume method in the queue. And now let's start the producer thread and the consumer thread as well. Alright, that's it. Now let's take a look at what this looks like in action. So let's build and run the application. And there we go. We are asked for a number. So let's start by providing the number 1, followed by hitting enter. And now we can see that we constantly produce new numbers and constantly consume it as well. This will run indefinitely. So to stop this, we use Command C on the keyboard. Alright, so let's run it again. But now let's enter the non-blocking queue example. So let's enter 2, followed by hitting enter. And there we can see we produced a couple of numbers and then we ran into the false segment so that we had to wait 1000 milliseconds. This will always alternate between producer and consumer, and it will also run indefinitely. So to stop this, we again use Command C on the keyboard. In summary, we first checked the basics of the array blocking queue. After that, we created a code example, showcasing a producer-consumer example for the blocking variant, as well as the non-blocking variant. I would like to know, what did you think about the short and concise format of this video? And also, have you already made use of the array blocking queue? Could I motivate you to make use of it in the future? Drop a like for this video and also write about your thoughts in the comment section below this video. And by subscribing to this channel, you can get informed about all the future videos with contents just like this one. My name is Gene, and thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video.